Hi, according to the data that you have entered, you are in stage 2 of critical reasoning section. Now what does this mean? This means that you know how to read and understand the given argument. This also means that intuitively you can understand how the author justifies his conclusion. Now, because the key to acing critical reasoning is visualizing the argument and pre-thinking the assumptions, it is important that you solidify the method of pre-thinking on all sorts of argument and along typical lines of thinking. This will ensure that you are building a solid foundation that you can then cement utilizing questions in Scholarania. So, given this, let's talk about how is it that you should proceed with your critical reasoning section preparation. You need to work on your critical reasoning course, right? So here's what the course looks like. So you need to start working on module 3 over here. Okay, let's get the pen here. Module 3. So go through the pre-thinking files here. File 3.2 to file 3.6. Okay, these files teach you how to pre-think. Okay, each file is built on various lines of thought process. Okay, the goal here is to solidify your thought process, and remember, you are intuitively doing this on some level. That is why you are in stage 2 of critical reasoning. Okay, so as you go through these files, your goal is to solidify your intuitive thought process. Okay, so as you go through these files, embrace the approach. See how the approach relates to your intuitive approach so that you can enhance your pre-thinking skills. Okay, now you may recognize that some lines of thinking come more naturally to you than others. Try to learn the ones that you are struggling with. Okay, and once you are done with these pre-thinking files, I want you to either attend the critical reasoning pre-thinking sessions webinar live, or view the recording of it. So this is number 1 over here, then you do number 2 over here. This webinar acts as a perfect bridge between your pre-thinking files and the application and the practice files here. Okay, once you're done with the webinar, then you solve these application and practice files. So think about an application file as a guided exercise, okay, in which you first solve question number 1 and then you review the solution of this question in detail. Okay, essentially what this allows you to do is this allows you to compare and contrast your approach versus the approach that has been explained in the solution. Okay, so that's what this thing allows you to do. Just spell contrast, right? Contrast. Okay, all right, now then what you do is you apply these learnings that you have from this exercise onto the next questions, the next question that follow, question number 2, and then you again review the solution of this question, and then you repeat the process here. Okay, so essentially as you apply these learnings to the subsequent questions in the file, what ends up happening is that your skill set to solve questions really gets enhanced. Okay, and the more critical you are in this step of reviewing the solution, the more good learnings you will have from this exercise, and the more diligent you are over here to apply these learnings onto the following questions, the more your skill set will improve. Okay, now another very important thing to understand is that in any given module, your application file and the practice file really go hand in hand. Okay, essentially what do we mean by that? The questions in these files, they are cherry picked to serve a particular intent. Okay, so these are what we call as purpose built files. Okay, these files are built with a purpose. Okay, so whenever you solve questions in the application files, do not skip the associated practice file, because that's when the learning really happens a lot. Okay, now the third thing which I absolutely want you to keep in mind is when you are solving these questions, I do not want you to time yourself. Do not time yourself. Why? because the goal over here is for you to learn the process as much as possible from these purpose-built files, and you will not be able to learn the process in the intended manner if you do these files in the timed environment. So do not time yourself. Do not waste these questions by solving these questions in a hurry. Okay, so keep in mind these 3 points and carry forward. Now, after you complete this exercise, you will have practiced pre-thinking skills on at least 30 small CR passages and 20 GMAT-like CR passages. And if you do this step right, then the next step of cementing the pre-thinking method using Scholaranium will go very smoothly. Now with this information, you're ready to get started with stage 2 of critical reasoning. So go ahead, start learning pre-thinking method, start solidifying pre-thinking method, and as soon as you're done with this, I will then guide you on how to utilize Scholaranium to further cement your methods. Happy learning!